Good morning once again. I just want to take this time to welcome our alumnus this weekend. Many of you have traveled from far, some near, but nonetheless, we're grateful that God has brought you home for at least 4 years. This has been a home for many of you. And you, at some point, I believe that you made an impact on this place, and this place made an impact on you. It's a symbiotic type of relationship. And so we're grateful that you have taken time out of your busy schedule to be here today, to pour into our young people, to let them know that Andrews Academy is a place that represents Christ. It's a place that prepares you for changing the world. And so we want to take some time to welcome you this morning. And for the weekend, we hope that you will get reacquainted with some old friends and maybe make some new friends this weekend. I want our students to make our alumni feel welcome by putting our hands together.
Come on this side. All right, I'd like to welcome Christiana Howell to the service today, and she'll be our guest speaker. She sat in these pews just a little over 10 years ago and endured biology a little over 12 years ago and survived earth science a little over 13 years ago. An interesting fact about her: she holds an Andrews Academy record, and I'm looking for Mrs. Mills. This would be of interest to you. She has attended the most student association campouts that I'm aware of. Any guesses of how many? Oh, 15 was getting close. I think it's either 12 or 13, and you can turn the picture on now. I think she started her kindergarten year coming to SA Campout. The person sitting to her left is, you may recognize him. I'm quite certain that's Ben Panigo, who is the campus safety officer in charge of campus safety. And the other person to her left was my grader, and she's in the medical field somewhere down south, I think. And those TVs up there, at least the first ones, was, I think, your class gift from the class of 2012, if I recall. So, and even way back there in grade 2, Christiana had, and some of you may not know her middle name, it's Christiana Atkins Howell, in case you haven't made the connection. And even at the grade 2 level, she had the characteristics of a good psychologist: a listening ear, compassionate heart, and words of wisdom, even at the grade 2 level. Yeah. And she is a practicing counselor in St. Joseph, and is in a few months going to be called Dr. Howell as she completes her PhD in psychology. And proud parents are allowed to do this. So I'm going to get a selfie with her. And you guys in the background. And on 3, you can wave. She taught me how to use the cell phone a number of years ago. How do I do a selfie?
You want me to do it?
You'll do it? Okay, yeah, thank you. And on 3, you can wave and then yell out, "I love biology," or "I love earth science." Okay, so.
Or just wave.
No, say yeah, okay. On 3, 1, 2, and 3.
Okay, well, thank you for that introduction. That was actually very nice of you. Okay, so like he said, I'm a mental health counselor. I work in St. Joe out of Trilogy Counseling, and I'm on my 17,000th year of my PhD in counseling psychology, but I should graduate next year. I was trying to figure out what to do for this talk, and I thought, why not talk about something that I'm interested in, something that I've learned a lot about, and it's mental health. So I came up with a few observations, a few ideas that I want you guys to just consider and think about. And it comes from clinical experiences, working with all different types of clients. It comes from my own personal experiences as a human being, and it comes from research that I've read over the years. So I just put some thoughts together, and let's start with the first one. Okay. I have noticed a pattern between people who come in who are generally happier, who are generally struggling less with mental health. And one of the biggest differences is that these people tend to still be actively engaged in their life. Now, they have built habits into their life. They make it a routine to do these things. And some of these things are having a social life. And I don't mean you have to have 100 friends to have a social life. You just need a few people that don't annoy you too much, that you enjoy spending time with, that you spend time with on a regular basis. These people are actively engaged in hobbies. They have things that they're interested, that they're pursuing, and they have built-in small habits that include physical activities that keep them active and keep them healthy. And I've found that the best type of exercise is exercise that you forget is exercise. That's the way that I have been able to keep getting exercise even after I get burnt out from the gym. It's finding a sport, it's finding something that I haven't done and doing that as an activity. So why should we take care of ourselves? Why should we build these small habits into our lives? 1 Corinthians 6:19 and 20, do you not know that your bodies are temples of the Holy Spirit, who is in you, whom you have received from God? You are not your own. You are bought at a price. Therefore, honor God with your bodies. So does anyone want to guess what the answer to this is? What is one health habit change that if you started doing it this week would have the biggest and most significant effect on your mental and physical health? You're definitely going to college. That was the correct answer. Your sleep. Physical exercise, all these other things, they have a huge effect. They're really important, but sometimes those results can take a really long time to show up. If you start working on your sleep schedule now, your sleep habits, it can be the basis for your other habits, because 2/3 of American adults are not getting the recommended amount of sleep at night. And if you're routinely sleeping less than 6 or 7 hours a night, which I know is very common, it can more than double your risk of cancer. Sleep deprivation can disrupt your blood sugar levels to the point that you can appear pre-diabetic. It suppresses your immune system, puts you at risks for different diseases, contributes to all major psychiatric conditions, and it changes your hormones. I don't know if you've ever gotten more snacky at night. That happens because sleep deprivation increases a hormone in your brain that signals hunger, and it stops a hormone, suppresses a hormone that signals that you are full. So if you're looking for a good habit to start doing or a good place to start, sleep is one of the best places because it can help support your other habits. Another thing that you can do for your health. You guys have gone to Adventist schools, so I am sure you have heard don't do drugs, and you've seen those scary pictures of people's faces melting and that sort of thing. But I want to talk about a drug that's a bit more commonly accepted and has recently been legalized, I believe. I'm talking about weed. Now, back in the 80s, there used to be this idea that weed would melt your brain and it would make you dumb, which is not technically true. Over the years, researchers have found that it isn't true, but they have found that if you're under the age of 25 and you're smoking weed even occasionally, not even heavily, 10 years down the line, it affects your intelligence, your IQ, by 1 standard deviation. Now, that might not seem like a big deal, but let's say you're in the superior intelligence category. 10 years down the line, you will be in the above average category. Okay, that's a little uncomfortable, but let's talk about if you're in the average category And 10 years down the line, if you're smoking weed, it will affect your intelligence to the point that you'll be in the below average category. This effect is not true past 25, but I also know that none of you are 25, so I thought it would be important information to share. Another way to protect your brain, earlier we talked about, your body is a temple. Well, your brain is a really sensitive temple, and you have to take care of it. Another way to protect your brain is to spend some time bored. We have a lot of technology, which has brought us some really amazing things. We can be connected in ways that we haven't been before, entertainment. There's a lot of good things that have come from it, but at the same time, we have come to live in a state of constant distraction. When was the last time that you sat down and waited for something? Unless, your phone's taken away at school. But when was the last time you sat down and waited for something without pulling out your phone? Or you were bored and you were thinking about something and you didn't pull out your phone or your laptop or start doing something else. Researchers have found that when you spend time bored, you increase your creativity, you increase your problem solving. Your brain is constantly doing things, even things that you're not aware of, that sometimes you need to give it a little bit of a break. And as I'm talking about these things, I'm not saying you need to completely get rid of social media or, you need to sleep 8 hours a day every day, go to bed at 9. What I'm saying is that building small habits, making small changes makes a huge difference. So let's say you're someone that goes to bed at 2 in the morning, maybe try going to bed at 1 in the morning and see what happens. It doesn't have to be a colossal change. Making small changes has a huge effect. So we're talking about these health habits and different things that you can do for yourself. What do you think is the best way to change your habits? A show of hands. Who thinks that the best way to do it is to practice and build your willpower like a muscle? So then you can build the strength to resist temptation when you need to. And who thinks that you should structure your environment so it fits the habits that you want? Willpower, changing your environment. Okay, you guys already know the answer to that. I know by the end of the day, working, doing things, I am kind of out of willpower from, getting myself to work, making sure I get everything done, not eating that cookie that I want to. The best way to change your habits is to take advantage of your human nature and to trick yourself into having better habits. And that's done by changing your environment. So a quick formula for if you're trying to build a better habit or if you're trying to get rid of a bad habit. For a good habit, you want to make it as obvious as you can. You want to make it as easy to do as possible. And you want to make it as appealing as possible. So for example, if you want to go to the gym more, the way that you could accomplish this is you could pack up your gym bag before, you can put it right in your front seat the day before. That does two things. It's obvious, it's right in front of you, it's sitting in the seat next to you, and it's easy because you don't have to go home and get your gym clothes and take that extra step to go out of your way to get something done. And making it appealing, doing some kind of exercise that you actually enjoy, or wearing that new outfit that you have, or getting a friend to go with you if you're not really feeling motivated. That's how you build good habits into your life. And if you're wanting to get rid of bad habits, the reverse is true. You want to make the habit invisible, you want to make it as difficult as you can, and you want to make it as unappealing as you can. So for example, I decided I need to stop falling asleep watching TV. So I took the TV out of my bedroom, I put it in the guest bedroom closet, and that accomplished two things. It made it invisible, it wasn't out right in front of me. It made it difficult because I'm already comfortable in bed, and if I want to get up and watch something, I have to go all the way over there in my pajamas, which I don't like doing. And to make it unappealing, kind of hard to make it unappealing, but the walk really helps make it unappealing, and having other things that I can do at night that are less stimulating, that kind of helps me as well. Not saying I'm perfect, but it's really improved that habit for me. Okay, so my second observation, you need people. I've heard a lot of people say, I don't like people, which I understand because people are the worst, but they're also the best. And I think COVID really proved to us how much we really do need people. The rates of depression, anxiety, stress, all other sorts of mental health issues more than doubled over COVID. And the group that had the biggest effect was teenagers and young adults. So that is you and me that it affects. So let's say you recognize that you need people in your life, but you have a hard time making friends, or maybe you have some social anxiety, or you really feel self-conscious. Well, researchers have found that people tend to overestimate being disliked. They put people together in a room, they had them interact, and they had them rate those interactions. And they found that the majority of people overestimated that they were being disliked. And the people who were the worst at estimating if they were liked or not were the people that were the most self-critical, which to me is very exciting, because if you're really doubting yourself, it means you have a pretty good chance you might be wrong. Researchers have also found that there's this cycle that happens, that when you try and avoid rejection because of the fear of rejection, you end up withdrawing more, you end up being less friendly, and that in turn makes people not really like you as much, and it kind of brings around the rejection that you're trying to avoid. So my best advice to you is, if you're walking into a new situation, you're walking into a new room, you're meeting people, just assume that people like you, because there's a better chance that they will than they won't. And sometimes people won't like you, and that's okay too. You want the people around you that like you. The more you put yourself out there, the more you find people that are worth spending time with, the more that you find people that really value you and make you feel good about yourself. Now, another thing I hear is, well, I don't like people because I have trust issues and I've been stabbed in the back before. I totally understand. I've definitely been stabbed in the back before. It's not a fun experience. One way that you can protect yourself from this is the idea of safety testing. Now, safety testing is not the same as testing your friend's loyalty. Testing your friend's loyalty is very manipulative. Safety testing is when you are meeting a new person and you're kind of trying to get a feel for them. What you do is you share something small that's just a little bit personal and a little bit vulnerable, but nothing that you wouldn't be okay with everyone in the world knowing if they really had to. You share that with them, you see how they respond to it. Do they understand you? Do they respond well? Do they break your trust? And you continue to do this over time, where you start to share a little bit more personal, and if they handle it well, a little bit more personal. You have to give relationships time to build trust. You can't just jump right in and trust that someone won't hurt you. And I'm not saying that doing this won't protect you from heartbreak or someone still isn't going to stab you in the back, but it really helps when you give the relationship time to build that trust. It really protects you. Okay, hear me out. I know this sounds weird, but mental health, I don't think mental health is about never being sad. And I don't think mental health is about never being anxious. I also don't think that mental health is about being happy. Now, that might sound weird, but I truly believe that mental health is about experiencing the full range of human emotions. That includes the negative ones, the ones that we don't like as much, like anger and sadness, loneliness. We're meant to feel those things. Mental health is experiencing the full range of human emotions and learning that you can tolerate it. The more that you have these experiences where you have these lows and these highs, the more that you learn different healthy ways to cope, and you kind of teach yourself, I can handle this, I can handle this. That's what mental health is. Even if you have a mental health disorder, I think that you can find your balance of mental health, because mental health is about adapting. The better you can ride out those lows and highs, maybe your lows and highs are even higher than everyone else's, the more that you can tolerate it, the more that you can cope with it, the better off that you will be. And I think that we're supposed to experience all of our emotions. They're built into our bodies. We all have the same ones. We're meant to have those. We learn from all of our experiences, all of our emotions. So if you're chasing never feeling bad, that's probably not going to work out very well for you. And if you're chasing always being happy, I don't think that'll work out very well for you either, because all of those things change. All of those things are fleeting. It's more about being able to adapt. Okay, this one I might get on a little bit of a soapbox, so I apologize. But don't hate your feelings. Your feelings are information. If you are a person who dismisses feelings as unimportant or even sees them as a negative thing, it's this thing that gets in your way, it's this thing that embarrasses you, you are missing out on so much information. You have systems in your body that are made up to connect with your emotions. Every time you feel an emotion, it tells you something. If you are feeling sad, that probably tells you, hey, maybe there's something missing in your life, or maybe there's something that you're not doing very well that you need to do better at. If you're feeling lonely, that might tell you, hey, I need more people. I need to get a better social support network. If you're feeling anxious, that might tell you there's something that you're avoiding and you really need to deal with it. If you're feeling angry, even anger, I think, is a good emotion. If you're feeling angry, it might tell you that someone is stepping on your boundaries. Someone is crossing a line with you, and you need to set a boundary with them. Fear. Fear seems like a really not fun emotion from my own experiences. But if a bear were to walk out here, we would all have the same reaction. Fight, flight, freeze, and I'll probably be flighting. I hope someone else is fighting, but we all have this reaction in our nervous system that our hearts will start racing, we might feel a little bit tingly, there might be a change of temperature, our vision tunnels, we're no longer hungry. All of these things are happening in your body for a very specific reason. And if you've ever had a panic attack, all of those things are happening in that moment. That might sound very familiar. But every single one of those things, your appetite leaving and blood rushing, that's blood rushing to your extremities so you can be ready to fight off that bear. You can be ready to run with me to Andrews University to get away from it. Your body temperature changing, that happens so your body can better regulate temperature in case you need to run a really long time so you don't pass out. It's a protective mechanism that's built in. Let's see, your appetite changing, that's blood going away from your stomach, going into your extremities, your vision tunneling, all of these things happen for a reason. So my question is, why fight the things that give you an advantage? Why fight the thing in life that gives you information? I don't know if you're one of those people that think that like, I can just push my emotions down and eventually they'll go away. That might work for a while, but I don't know if you've ever tried to push a beach ball underwater. It just pops right back up. And I think emotions are the same way. If you're pushing something down, if you're not dealing with it, if you're pretending that it's going to go away, it's going to pop back up when you least expect it and when you least want it to. And I can attest to this from personal experience. I used to spend a lot of time avoiding vulnerability, feeling really uncomfortable if I cried. And it wasn't until I started to accept those feelings that I stopped trying to fight them, that it became so much easier, so much less overwhelming, and I cried so much less often because it was okay. It wasn't this horrible thing that happens. So don't avoid your feelings. They're going to come back to haunt you. And my last idea, again, this one might sound weird as well, or my last observation. Conflict is good and conflict is necessary. If you are someone that avoids conflict, like I am, or like I like to do, you are missing out on having closer relationships. Disagreeing with someone can actually bring you closer. Nothing builds a secure relationship like working through a conflict in a relationship. Do you trust the person that you've never had an argument with? Or do you trust the person that you have worked through conflict with and they didn't leave? I want to clarify. Certain types of conflict are bad. If you are being disrespectful in the conflict, if you are speaking disrespectfully, if you are insulting someone as a person instead of working through, that type of conflict will kill relationships. It will not bring you closer. But sharing your true needs, sharing your true thoughts, that will bring you closer. If you are a people pleaser, if you are always bending over backwards to make people happy, how many people actually know you? If they don't actually know what you need, what you think, how close are your relationships truly? These are things that I have learned over time. I know the urge to avoid conflict, to avoid feelings is strong, but I highly encourage you to try and deal with those things. If you're really struggling, seek a mental health professional, talk to your friends, talk to your teachers. They're all here to support you. And the more that I have studied human behavior, the more that I have studied your nervous system, the more that I've studied the brain, the more that I genuinely believe that you are fearfully and wonderfully made. Every single one of you has something truly amazing going on between your ears. I can't even begin to describe all the things that you have happening for you. So my advice is, don't waste your time second-guessing yourself, and don't waste your time trying to be someone you're not. Find whatever it is that you're good at, and go do that, and you will be a lot better off. Well, thank you for listening to me ramble, although you had no choice. I will be in one of the career seminars, and I hope to see you there. Thank you.
All right. Let's have a word of prayer. All right. Heavenly Father, thank you for this wonderful day. Thank you that it is Alumni Weekend. Thank you for the alumni that have returned, and even those who have not, Lord. Thank you that they are here. Thank you that they can pass on knowledge and information to us so that we may learn and understand things for our own futures and to understand what we want to go into, Lord, and what our purpose is on this earth. We thank you for all you've done for us. Thank you for the message we just heard, Lord. Help us have a wonderful day, Lord. Thank you for all you've done for us. In your holy name I pray. Amen.
So how do you guys like Alumni Weekend so far? Yes. You will love it when you have graduated from here and you get to come back whenever you want and hang out amongst the building and your former instructors. So Pastor Ferg and I are excited to talk to you this morning. Do you guys know what's going to happen next for you? Seminars. I would like to hear a more enthusiastic seminars. Yes, that's what I'm talking about. All right. So we have some amazing alumni that have come back to talk to you guys about their careers this morning. Many of them we've got quite an international crowd that have come to Berrien Springs to talk to you about what they do for their careers. I really want to invite you guys to ask them the really good, hard-hitting questions, right? Yeah, what you love. What's your worst day of work look like? What's another good question?
Do you get satisfaction from doing your...
Yeah, job satisfaction.
Yeah.
That's a huge one. You know, what's your quality of life like? How much time do you get with your family? You know, all of those good things. So keep those good questions in mind as you're hearing them speak this morning. They have been so kind to give their mornings up. Some of them flew in from Los Angeles, so they are on Pacific time, right? So you've got to have some mercy on them also. Have some fun with them. Be so respectful and so kind because they have volunteered their time for their alma mater this morning, and we are excited to welcome and introduce them this morning.
So, Ms. Tanya, since you know these individuals better than I do, we're going to call them up on stage, and then we're going to ask them just to tell us a little bit about themselves if that's okay.
Exactly. That sounds perfect. That sounds perfect. So I believe our alumni are scattered amongst the audience here. So we're going to say their name and have them come on up and have them introduce themselves a little bit. Just their name, the year that they graduated, and where they currently work, what their current job title is. So at this point, we are excited to hear from Gary Council. Is Gary here? Awesome. Yes, Gary. Welcome.
Thank you. Graduated in '62. I've been a chaplain and a minister for over 50 years. Currently a healthcare chaplain at our volunteer at our local hospital, 36 years in the military, 7 years with police departments, and 7 years at Dulles International Airport. 3 years with the U.S. Secret Service.
Awesome. Thank you, Gary.
Thank you for your service.
Yes, thank you for your service. Next, we are excited to hear from Eric Ellison. Is Eric here? Awesome. All right.
Eric Ellison, class of '97. I am a pastor in the Seventh-day Adventist Church, most recently in Chicago, and in the near future I'm going to be in Costa Rica.
You want to say any more? You're good. What more is there?
I've pastored for 20 years in places all over North America, and it's a great job to have.
Because usually there's a problem when you give a pastor the mic. They want to talk forever. So
I know,
we're
that's
just
true.
wondering, Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Eric. Yes. Next, we are very excited to have Robert Fuste tell us a little bit about what he does.
Good morning. Probably the very first question you find yourself asking is, how do you do filmmaking and photography in a wheelchair? Maybe we'll cover that a bit in this session, but I did web design for 15 years. My wife and I led a Christian retreat house for 3 years, and now I've been a filmmaker and photographer for 10 years, and I didn't study for any of those. So for those that are really serious about you've got to study for what you're going to do, there are alternate paths. You have to pursue your hobbies and your heart. And so we'll talk a little bit about that, and then just go over what does it look like in the day in the life of someone that does this kind of work. So hope to see some of you there.
Excellent. Next, we would like to hear from Corey Gooden. Is Corey here? All right.
Hey guys, so I'm a class of 1997, same as a bunch of the other guys here this weekend, but I work for Whirlpool Corporation. I got an internship with Whirlpool while I was still in college and ended up staying there and staying in the area. So it's been 20 years now I've been with the company. 16 years I was doing material science, and the last 4 years I've been doing something called supplier development, which is preparing suppliers for production. So yeah, that's what I'll be talking about today is my experience with lots of global travel, working in a corporate environment, and developing products. So.
And you have already kind of met her, but Christina, would you like to come up and introduce yourself?
Yeah, so you guys are pretty familiar with me already, but I guess I could say as a counselor, I'm a generalist, so I usually see almost any type of problem that comes in the door with a few exceptions. But I do have a specialty in treating anxiety and trauma-related issues as well. So yeah, that's all I can think of.
So we're excited to call someone to the stage, and I'm gonna hope I don't slaughter a name here. Vincent Kuchipudi. Perfect. Yeah. Yes, awesome. Benson.
Thank you. Benson Kuchbudi, class of 87. Interesting fact, we had just got computers when I was going to school here, and I never touched one at the academy, and I never actually touched one at Andrews either. So, and I never went to school for this, but I spent the past 30 years in IT, and currently I'm VP of Digital Innovation at Hyzon Motors. It's a global company making hydrogen fuel cells for the next generation of EV vehicles.
Thank you. Now I'm excited to introduce you to Julia Locklear. All right. She's one of the ones on LA time, so yes.
Good morning. I barely made it to chapel on time, and I was on Eastern time, so this is really rough. But I'm Julia Locklear. I have a PhD in psychology also, but I'm a little bit of a different psychologist. I did research for consumer products and companies. So product testing, I worked at Ford, I worked for men's grooming companies and all that, but I'm not doing any of that now either. What I'm gonna talk to you about now is I work for myself, and somehow my boss is still a jerk. But we'll talk about what that means, and now I kind of get to do a little bit of everything. I'm a writer, I do public speaking, I do some teaching, so I hope to see some of you there and let you know it is totally fine to change your mind about what you want to be.
Next, we are excited to hear from David McCara.
Good morning, everyone. I am an in-house counsel, currently residing in Detroit, Michigan, working for a publicly traded company called DTE Energy. And if you have never heard of DTE Energy, that is a good thing because my job is keeping them out of trouble and therefore avoiding bad headlines. So I will elaborate on my legal career and the detours I took to get through my legal career shortly. Thank you.
Next, we are excited to hear from Dr. Olin Netteberg.
You guys are an excited bunch this morning. Put a coffee machine in here? All right. I'm just excited to be wearing blue jeans here. I couldn't do that when I was a student. So I'm a doctor, I guess. I'm an emergency physician in America, but my wife and I have been in Chad, Africa for 12 years almost. She's a gynecologist. I don't answer those questions. You can direct them to her. And we also go backpacking. I have 5 kids because my gynecologist wife doesn't know how to fix that. And we can talk about that if you want to. So we can talk about missionary work or medical work or hiking. Yeah, we just finished hiking. If you know the Appalachian Trail or the Continental Divide Trail, we just hiked that, and I think we set like 7 records when we did it. So, yeah. All right, cheers.
Next, we are excited to introduce Michael Nixon.
Man, I should have brought some material. We got some jokesters in here. Wow. We have some alumni doing some cool stuff. Michael Nixon, I graduated in 2005. I went to school to be an attorney, but I'm currently the VP for Culture and Inclusion at Andrews University, so right down the street. So we'll talk a little bit about that. I kind of wish I brought resumes because there's, I might want to get another job. People doing some cool stuff, but I'm just kidding. No, I love my job. Don't tell my boss I said that. I'll be in Mrs. Pellegrini's room, so excited to see you.
Awesome. Next, we are excited to hear from Jolene O'Brien.
I'm Jolene O'Brien. I'm a veterinarian here in Baroda, Michigan, just down the street. I graduated in 2002, right, Lindsay? Yeah, so it's my 20th year. I don't look that old, I know. I am a mixed animal practitioner, and what that means is I treat any animal from big to little. So I've worked on tigers, elephants, a bunch of different stuff. So we'll go over that if you're in my session. It's going to be really fun. Thanks.
Okay. Next, we are excited to hear from Lindsay Olson.
My name is Lindsay Olson, and I'm currently a flight nurse for Lutheran Air out of Indiana. I've been a nurse for 14 years and currently just finished my degree as a nurse practitioner.
All right, thanks, Lindsay. Next, we are excited to introduce Vincent's sister, Venetia Rathnam.
That my entire Andrew's career. Vince's little sister. Hi guys, I'm Venetia. I am not a psychologist. I noticed there were some here. I am, however, a therapist. I currently own my own practice in St. Joe, right there on the bluff. I also specialize in play therapy. Substance abuse is one of my big expertise, and trauma. So my population is mostly teens and kids. So I'm excited to share stuff with you.
Cool. Thanks, Venetia. Next, I am super pleased to introduce you to Melody Rorabeck.
Hi everybody, my name is Melody Rorabeck. I used to be Melody Collins once upon a time. Met my high school sweetheart here, you never know. I am a medical laboratory scientist. I've been working at the Johns Hopkins Hospital in Baltimore, Maryland for 5 years. Pre-med friends, my talk is for you, and I have a sticker for anyone who comes. It's kind of cute. Made it myself. Here you go.
And finally, our final presenter we're excited to introduce is Kyle Whiteside. Kyle, come on up.
Hi, my name is Kyle Whiteside. I graduated in 2012 with Christiana and Cooper. This is our 10-year reunion. I now officially feel old. I'm a general dentist that practices in Wisconsin. I work at a federally qualified health center, meaning my population is lower income and rural patients. If anyone would like me to take a tooth out while I'm here, I'm really jonesing for an extraction right now. So just come to mine, and I also work at candy bars.
Good, yes. Awesome. What? That's continued business. This is good practice. Candy bars, right? Awesome. Well, that is our lineup of career speakers. You guys will spend some time one-on-one with, or a small group of you with these speakers, and you'll also be hanging out in the gym speaking to other professionals about their careers in the career seminars that are represented by Andrews University. You're going to have an awesome morning. Again, get the questions ready. These guys are ready to answer them, and have a really good time.
And I just wanted you guys, I don't know if you observed and saw that Andrews Academy, that everyone that came up, that they exemplified excellence. That means that when you attend Andrews Academy, that there is nothing that you're not able to achieve if you allow God to be a part of your experience. So while you're in these seminars, listen, take notes. If you need to ask questions after you leave, go back. But make sure that you use the opportunity to gain something today. Because the wisdom that will be in front of you, you may not get a second opportunity to receive the information. So make sure that you take the time, that you're diligent in listening, you're respectful, because we're always respectful, right, guys? Very good. And that you make sure that you say thank you to your presenters at the end. We want to pray, and then we're going to dismiss you. Hopefully you guys know where you're supposed to be going. I think it's posted out there. Let's pray.
Okay. Heavenly Father, we're so grateful to be here this morning. Thank you so much for the blessings that you've given us and the things that we're about to hear this morning. Give us good questions and good hearts to receive the information. We love you so much. Amen.